will be sharing some exciting news with you this afternoon that will have a big impact on our communities and our students. So here to speak first is Iowa Auditor of State, Rob Sand.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to be here with you and really appreciate the opportunity to come down and help raise awareness here in Eastern Iowa of a really substantial change in the state auditor's office. We have historically, let me take a step back. As Naomi mentioned, our office functions effectively as taxpayers' watchdog. And so a lot of what we do are public corruption investigations, looking into waste, fraud, and abuse, and then in addition to that, financial statement audits. And it's a pretty good mix of both. Most of the reports that come out of our office are financial statement audits. Now you may or may not be aware, but in about the last 4 years, nationwide, there has been a 17% decrease in the number of accountants and auditors working in accounting and auditing. That means that we have a lot fewer people available to do the work that still needs to get done. We haven't seen a corresponding decrease in the number of audits that need to get issued. We still need to get every county audited every year, every state department audited every year, and most cities have got to get an audit every year as well, whether or not it's done by our office or by the private sector. What that means is that across the state of Iowa, both in the auditor's office but also in private CPA firms, there is a crunch. There is a shortage of people who are qualified to do the work. I think that historically what we have done is we have excluded people who are qualified to do the work. We have said to people who actually have an understanding of how the system works, who are capable of doing the work, that we didn't want their help. They weren't qualified simply because they didn't have the right piece of paper. I think that that's kind of silly. I think there's a lot of people across this state with a ton of common sense, a great head on their shoulders, who choose to pursue an associate's degree, who take a 2-year path to education. And a lot of them, they do it because it sounds like the more sensible option. Why would I pay for 4 years when I could pay for 2 to get the same job, right? So, we in our office are now going to begin accepting individuals with an associate's degree to join our office as staff auditors. I'm excited about this. I think it's the good move for a number of reasons. Number one, again, we've got a shortage right now of people in this state who are doing the work. Number two, we've got a lot of people in this state who are qualified to do the work, who have the training and the understanding that we need them to have to do it, but who made a different choice, oftentimes for very good reasons, to just get a 2-year degree. There's nothing wrong with that, and we should acknowledge that those people are talented and qualified to do the work by welcoming them into our office. I'm excited about this. I think that it's going to be a good move for the state of Iowa and for the people of Iowa. Our mission at the State Auditor's Office is to be the taxpayer's watchdog, and that involves public service, right? At the end of the day, when we're making decisions, we're trying to decide, well, what's best for the state of Iowa, what's best for the people of Iowa, right? And what's best for the people of Iowa in this situation is making sure that we have the people in the office to get the work done in a timely manner, and to make sure that we are recognizing and supporting the very strong value that there is behind an associate's degree. So I'm excited to be here today. We've been traveling talking about this because we want to make sure that people locally hear about what's going on, that people who locally have that degree have the ability to tune in and hear about the fact that we are going to be accepting that associate's degree to do the work in our office. I want to couple that with something else that I didn't talk about when we talked about this in Des Moines with DMAC. We also have a new rule in our office that we started a few years ago. It's called statewide work, statewide jobs. So if you live in Muscatine and you have that 2-year degree, and maybe you've been working at an auditing firm or accounting firm for a little while, you don't necessarily have to long-term relocate to Des Moines to work in the state auditor's office. What we have is a system that says once you've got typically a year of experience in our office, we are happy to have you live anywhere in the state of Iowa that you want. Now, why do we do that? Well, the rule is called statewide work, statewide jobs. We do statewide work. and so now we offer statewide jobs. If we are already auditing up and down the Mississippi River in eastern Iowa, then it makes sense to have employees who live in eastern Iowa. It makes sense to let them do their work based in eastern Iowa. And instead of assigning them to work in western Iowa or even in central Iowa, we'll assign them to work in eastern Iowa, and what that allows them to do is stay here in Muscatine, whether it's the county or the city or it's another county nearby. It allows them to be back and forth to home every night as opposed to having lots of nights away in a hotel. And I think most importantly, it makes sure that we can still have a good population base with good jobs spread across the state of Iowa. I grew up in northeast Iowa in Decorah. I know what it means in a smaller town to have a new family come to town. And I know what it means in a smaller town to have a family leave town. It is not the same impact in Des Moines. People in Des Moines don't notice too much if just one family comes or goes. The state government is paid for by Iowans all across the state. At the same time, we should be making sure that the benefits of state government, including its jobs, should be distributed all across the state of Iowa. And so the bottom line here is, if you've got a 2-year degree, or if you're thinking about getting one in accounting, that you could be coming and working in the state auditor's office, and that in fact, you could be doing it from Muscatine or wherever it is you choose to live. And we're happy to spread the word about that because I think that's good for the whole state of Iowa. Thank you all very much for having me here today.
We can greatly appreciate his remarks. Don't you think we should give him another round of applause? It means a lot. So I'd like to say, State Auditor, we are ready to rise to the challenge. Today, you notice that you have a population out here who is here to hear what you have to say. As the community's college, we have a long history of providing the education and training critical to sustaining local and regional workforce. We are honored to be here, supporting the new initiative with the Iowa State Auditor. For years, as you all know, you all have worked here for a very long time, some of you, that we've offered an AAS degree in accounting management through Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, and we are excited. You hear the excitement in my voice? I'm excited, we're excited for this wonderful opportunity that this partnership will bring our students. As you have mentioned, Auditor Sands, our students graduate well prepared to work in the field, and now they can apply for positions that were once only reserved for those pursuing bachelor's degrees. This means that while they can jumpstart their careers sooner in higher paying, in-demand jobs, this saves on money, this saves on cost. This is a savings all the way around, especially in tuition costs. So all the while, this will be helping fill an important need in our state. In our service area alone, there are more than 100 accounting jobs postings with the average salary of $55,000. How many of you knew that? That's what our research shows, but not only is it research, but it's true. And that is what we hope will attract students to this area so that you all can fulfill the needs that you have at the state level. So with your office leading by example, our hope is that even more employers will look to community college graduates to fill accounting positions in their offices. With these expanded opportunities, we can grow our programs and increase the number of accountants in the state. A key piece to why this initiative is important and why this initiative will also meet the needs of our workforce as well as other needs that we have jointly. We are grateful to the State Auditor for recognizing the talent and expertise of our graduates. And I'd like to say our graduates, but as a part of a consortium with 15 community colleges, it is all 15 community colleges. As presidents and chancellors, we work together to make sure that we meet the needs of our workforce, and this is just a start. So I'd like to say thank you again for coming here to share this good news with us. I'm so pleased, that this is an initiative, but most of all, I think I'm pleased that we recognized the value of associate degrees. So that by itself speaks volumes, and thank you for acknowledging that. So this is where I'll stop, and I want to now turn it over to Dr. DeWinter to carry on with the rest of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Williams. In our audience today, we have accounting students and business students from Eastern Iowa Community Colleges, as well as students representing our Business Professionals of America organization. And they go across the country to compete against other business students and many times come back with wonderful awards. So we also agree with what Rob said, making a sensible option or a smart choice by starting here in your local community. And we all look forward to seeing where your careers will take you now that we've learned about these new opportunities that have just become available to you. So as Dr. Williams mentioned, EICC offers an accounting management AAS degree in addition to multiple credentials in business, data analytics, and administrative office professional. You can see that those are all tied in under the business pathway umbrella. In our accounting management program, students work on real-world accounting problems. They get one-on-one attention, learning industry standards such as general accepted accounting principles, financial accounting standard boards, and how to properly analyze financial statements. These are all skills that are in the toolbox of an auditor. With courses in areas such as managerial accounting, macroeconomics, cost accounting, and records management, students are prepared to hit the ground running following graduation. High school students also are able to get a head start in concurrent courses or in our Business Career Academy, and they begin a pathway within accounting or in business. While many of our graduates also go on to earn bachelor's degrees, this particular partnership with the State Auditor's Office will prove to be life-changing for many. And I want to just take a moment to recognize our accounting faculty, Corey Frad, our Department Chair of Business, John DeBeat, and other EICC faculty, staff, and students who are here today. This one is for you, and this one is for our state of Iowa. Thank you. Our final speaker, and possibly your first applicant, Rob, will be Jenny Clemmie, and she is graduating from the accounting program in December, and you will be delighted to hear her story.
Thank you. As she said, my name is Jenny Clemmie. I am in my final semester of my associate's degree. As you can see, I'm not a standard, typical, traditional student. I was an office manager for 15 years. I did wear everybody's hat in the office except for the driving. I was a trucking company. So I did all of the billing, all of the payroll, everything that had to do with it. And my boss told me he was gonna retire in a couple of years. And I thought, oh, I never got that piece of paper like he had said about, and I probably need to start looking at doing something about that. So I started on March of 2020, right when the whole world was having so much fun, and decided I was gonna do online classes, and I actually have been able to, I have not worked now for a year. I've been focusing just on school and family, and as of December, I'll be done. So you probably will hear from me pretty soon. Eastern Iowa Community College has actually made it possible by offering all the classes online, and I can't thank you guys enough. It really, all the teachers have been wonderful. I struggled a few times, but the teachers were always right there to step up and help me out. Can't say enough thanks.
We want to leave a few minutes for some questions from the audience. Perhaps you'd like to come back up, Rob, and see if there are any questions or comments from the audience.
Yes, sir.
My name is J.R. Green. I've spent the better part of 40 years, mostly as an adjunct, and I like it that way, with the community colleges. And know, what I find really fascinating, and this started happening very early in my my activities here, was I would walk into a business, whether it was a clinical setting, accounting business, retail environment, or whatever, and I would run into some of my former students, and it made my heart soar like a hawk. So when I see you doing this effort to outreach to our students and help them to realize that their qualifications are just what you need, it just makes me very, very happy to hear it. Thank you very much for coming today.
Yeah, I appreciate the comment. This to me is kind of common sense. I had plenty of people who I went to high school with, K through 12 in Decorah, who got great grades and were very active students who ended up getting 2-year degrees, and they're out working their careers now. Not everybody has to go to 4-year school. It doesn't make you smarter than anyone else to go to 4-year school. And sometimes there's lots of good reasons to get a 2-year degree. I think the state auditor's office should reflect that. How can you be the taxpayer's watchdog if you don't acknowledge that sometimes the better value is in the 2-year degree? I think that's important for us to do, and I'm encouraged to know that people who make that choice, who choose that path, can see that value appreciated in our office now. Yes?
Do you have a set number of positions you're looking to fill immediately, or?
Because the number of people in accounting and auditing is down so much nationwide, we are looking to hire a lot of people relatively quickly. That doesn't mean that every applicant that comes forward gets a job offer, but it does mean that we are looking to get people in because we've got deadlines that we would like to meet and work that we would like to get finished with. And the quickest way to do that is bring more bodies in the door and sort the wheat from the chaff. We have to sort the wheat from the chaff even with people who come with a 4-year degree. We hired someone a little while ago who had really no familiarity with Microsoft Excel. We just assumed that familiarity was there because of her training. I won't say which school she went to, it wasn't there. But it was a 4-year degree, and so, she wasn't able to stick around long. We don't think that this is going to change much with folks with a 2-year degree. Some people want to do the work, and it's a tough, competitive, maybe not competitive, but it's a high-pressure environment. We have a lot of work to do. And so we'll figure out who can do it and who can't, but that's not anything new to us. If you wanted a really specific answer, maybe 15 or so. Yeah.
You also have paid internship opportunities, is that correct?
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so our office does paid internships. We were paying $15 an hour a couple years ago. I think we're still there, but we might have gone up from there. This is a great way for people to get their foot in the door. We oftentimes have people who join us after having done an internship, where we have them on a short-term basis, and then we realize that they can cut it, and so we have them stick around. Other times we have people who do an internship who, we have them now, we've made another change. We let them stick around even if they only want to do 10 hours a week. So they might still be in school. They say, well, I'd like to do a little bit of paid work, get a little more experience, so will you take me for 10 hours? We'll take anybody for as long as they've got. And so, yeah, we do paid internships as well. We encourage students who are interested in that work to apply. Yes?
I'm Courtney Brad. I'm the accounting instructor for EICC. I teach a lot of most of the classes between the campuses. And you mentioned Excel. I make sure that my students learn Excel. That's how my classes are all set up that way. What other courses or information do you think that would be good for them to learn?
Certainly, I assume you guys all have a class now on government accounting specifically.
Financial, we do financial, managerial.
Okay.
And then also online you can do payroll, federal income tax, and cost.
So if you've got one, do you have one that's specific to government accounting?
No.
Okay.
And that's what I was wondering. I know, usually that's what you want is governmental
Right.
accounting, and we do not offer is there anything you think that we could do to help prepare our students, like point them?
It's a similar system. So if you haven't had the class, it doesn't mean you aren't qualified. You can still do the work, but it would be helpful to have that little bit of a background. I know that there are some of our community colleges that do offer it. I know DMAC does. But again, just because it isn't offered here doesn't mean that people who are graduating from here wouldn't get an offer at our office. If there was one thing, that would certainly be it. Because having people who are more exposed to that idea before they start the job will be very beneficial. On the other hand, if I had to pick between someone who didn't know government accounting versus didn't know Excel, I'd probably pick the person who's familiar with Excel and can handle that. So.
Okay, well, I could, I can kind of supplement some of my lecturing and kind of throw it out there and
Yeah.
let them know that they can go out there and do some research and pick up some governmental accounting, because yes, it is definitely a different
Yeah.
type of accounting.
Super.
Thank you.
You bet. Any other questions, anyone? All right. Well, thank you all so much for having me. I'm excited to see some applications come in from Eastern Iowa, and reach out through the website or through social media if you do have any other questions at any point.